Hello, Space Coast, and welcome to Florida Today's Eye on Brevard. I'm Rob Landers. Now, ordinarily, when we would introduce this show, I would be sitting side by side with Florida Today's engagement editor, Isadora Rangel, and I'm happy to say that today is no different. Isadora, welcome to the studio. I am so excited to have, finally, you and I in here together so that we can talk all things Florida politics and fun stuff and beyond.
Yeah, it feels different sitting in the hot seat finally.
Well, you know.
About to get grilled here.
Not grilled, we're just gonna have a discussion about what's going on. Okay, so let's talk about this crazy idea that's in the state capitol to move the state capitol. What's going on with that story?
Well, and this has happened at least 6 times before in Florida history. So there is a bill to create a task force to look into moving the capital of Florida from Tallahassee to a more central location. And the bill doesn't specify what the location is, but we can probably guess somewhere in central Florida, right? Because it's halfway between Tallahassee and South Florida where most of the population is. Our editorial board did an editorial, basically coming out against this. I covered the state legislature for 3-4 years, and I hated the drive. It's 5.5 hours. Tallahassee is far. It's very hard to get there. It's expensive to fly. Obviously, there are no trains. But just the cost of moving the capital, we have a 22-story building that is humongous, and then just the cost of moving everything to a location, let's say like Orlando. I mean, it's just not feasible.
Right. Well, okay. So you have lawmakers in Miami that don't want to drive to Tallahassee. You have lawmakers in Tallahassee that don't want to drive to Miami.
Yeah.
But when we were talking about this last week, moving the state capital to Orlando, can you imagine the increase in traffic on I-4? It's already a problem. It's already congestion.
Yeah.
It's been under construction since they started construction, decades ago. It just hasn't. It's never been completed. Yeah. And with that kind of increase in traffic, I don't see how it ever would be. Not to mention, all right, I think when we talked about this before, the last time they tried to move the state capitol was in 1967, and that's when they built this monstrous building in Tallahassee. It's got to be like the tallest building in Tallahassee because there's not any other like skyscrapers there that I'm aware of. But that's why they built the 22-story building, because to repurpose it would be next to impossible, and then to build yet another 22-story kind of office building in Orlando or Gainesville or something a little bit more central is doable, but really expensive.
Yeah, and the irony is the sponsor of the bill in '67 actually got a plaque inside the new Capitol saying, thanks to his efforts to move the Capitol to Orlando, we built this, enormous building.
Right.
So I spoke with Representative Randy Fine from Brevard, and he was very funny on Facebook, said, I hate this editorial, I'm not even reading it, because he drives there every weekend. But he made a good point. He said, obviously, this bill right now is ludicrous, but if we reach a point where we have to build another capitol just because the current one is too old and it's not safe to be there anymore, then maybe we should consider building it somewhere else. Then, if that ever happens, our editorial board will reconsider.
Right. If the building gets to a point where it's no longer feasible to continue using it, then maybe that's when we consider it. But right now, it is where it is. All right, so let's talk about something else that was approved, another building that was approved, which was the Slavery Monument. Let's talk about that for a second.
Yeah, so this is the second time that a bill is introduced to build the slavery memorial. Basically, it's honoring the forgotten men, women, and children who helped build Florida. Last year, it passed in the House, but it stalled in the Senate, and the chairman of the committee in which the bill stalled said something, why are we celebrating defeat? I don't really understand what he meant by that, so I'm not going to dwell much on it. But our editorial board gave a thumbs up because the House last week unanimously passed the bill to build the memorial. I think it makes sense, especially when you're talking about taking down Confederate monuments. I mean, it's time to honor these people as well. People who on whose back our state was built.
Correct. When we talked about this earlier, it was very much a, we already have the history. It's all it's in our Confederate monuments that are throughout the South, except a memorial built to remember those who were enslaved in the United States is one thing. Monuments built to remember the fight to keep them enslaved is another. I'm glad we supported this. I'm glad that we gave it, 2 thumbs up. And that the state is actually going to,
And regardless of how you feel about Confederate monuments, we're not talking about taking down a Confederate monument to build a slavery memorial.
No, that's not what I'm saying. Yeah. But if we're going to to have monuments to something, let's have monuments that remember what we as a nation put this part of the population through, rather than remember the fight to keep them enslaved and oppressed. So that's my.
So one interesting fact I was reading, I believe in the Miami Herald, I believe there are plans to take down a statue of a Confederate general. I don't know the specifics. So one of the 3 people that they were considering building a memorial for is the founder of Publix. I thought that was really interesting.
Wow.
Would it say like, making shopping a pleasure? Thanks for making shopping. It's like an interesting thing. I just thought it was.
In memoriam of the man who made shopping a pleasure. Wow,
yes.
That's interesting. All right, so since you brought up food and Publix, let's talk a little bit about Chick-fil-A. All right, so last week we found out that Chick-fil-A is moving into the former TGI Fridays location on Merritt Island, and this guy got very, very excited because I live very close to that location, and now I don't have to drive on Wickham Road to Vieira to get delicious chicken sandwiches from Chick-fil-A. Okay. So it's still a couple years away before we actually get the Chick-fil-A built, but this is like a good sign for Merritt Island.
Is it?
Well, it's a building that was vacant.
Okay.
Chick-fil-A is coming in. They're going to remodel this building. They're going to add 2 drive-through lanes on this building, and I think when you see a standalone Chick-fil-A moving into a location, almost like a Starbucks. It's a sign that the economy is picking up in that area. So I think that's a good sign for Merritt Island.
I actually live right next to the Chick-fil-A on Wickham, and I've never been to Chick-fil-A in my life.
That one's hard to get into.
It's
hard to get into because it's weird.
Chicken that much.
You don't like
or
chicken?
Fast food.
Oh, well, fast food.
I'm looking forward to a Trader Joe's on Merritt Island more than a Chick-fil-A, but it's great. I mean, obviously, you don't want vacancies. Not only that, I mean, it looks bad for the community, and other businesses might be more inclined to move there now that you have something that attracts clientele.
Correct. Right. Well, while we're on the topic of food, last week I got to sit down with our food and dining reporter, Suzy Fleming Leonard, to talk about some of the new restaurants that opened in 2017 that have quickly become our favorites, and we're going to roll that segment right now. Suzy, welcome back to the Florida Today studio. It's been a while since we've had you in.
I'm very happy to be here. It has been a while.
I think the last time we had you in was when we were getting ready for Flavor Month.
I think that's right.
Later last year. How did that go?
It went great. It was phenomenal. People loved it. The restaurants loved it. The servers loved it. I mean, I can't wait. I'm looking forward to the summer because it's been really cold lately, but I really can't wait for fall so that we can do Flavor again.
I know, it's a really fun event,
It
right?
really is.
Yeah, okay, so as Florida Today's food and dining reporter, I wanted to have you come back into the studio so we can talk about some of the favorite restaurants that have opened in 2017 and are still opening now, and then some of our favorites that kind of went away in 2017.
I know, I have this list. 5 pages. These are all the restaurants.
That's a really long list. And she's probably making a lot of noise with the paper for the microphone. But
I'm doing it on purpose.
Yeah.
I was doing that on purpose.
It's a really long list of restaurants.
It's a lot of them.
Let's talk about some of our favorites that opened in 2017.
Okay, some of my favorites. I love Main Street Spirits, 87 Main Street in Koko Beach. Really cute, cozy. They've got a piano, but it's not loud, and they have this really nice back patio area. It's just a really kind of fun hangout. A little upscale, but not so upscale that you would feel like you couldn't go there. I mean, you probably wouldn't want to wear your bathing suit, but I don't think they would turn you away. I don't know. So I love that one.
And there's also another one in Koko Village that's one of your favorites,
well,
too.
Well, that's Koko Beach.
Oh, sorry, Koko Beach.
That's Koko Beach.
So you said Koko, and I automatically went to Koko Village thinking about one of your other favorites, because you like going to Kreiderman's Barbecue.
I love me some Kreiderman's Barbecue.
I have not yet been to Kreiderman's. You know, having moved to Rockledge in 2017.
Can I give you a dope slap?
I know.
I mean, how have you not been
I'm now a little
Kreiderman's?
closer to the Village. I'm sampling the Village fare, so to speak, and I have not yet been to Kreiderman's. But that's usually because by the time I go, oh, I want to go to Kreiderman's, they're already closed.
Yes, well, and what they do is they're only open Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. They open at 11, and they're open until they run out.
And see, and in my mind, it's like, make more food.
Well, but that's the thing is, their whole business model is they don't want leftovers. They want everything that they serve. They want it to be fresh. They want it to be right off the grill, you know, just made. So they don't make so much that they're going to have leftovers.
Right.
So they
and I appreciate that too.
Yes. So it's always fresh, always delicious, always just made. And if I went, the last time I went, it was a little bit cool, so there was no line. I mean, because you have to sit outside. There's no indoor seating.
Yeah.
But it's really good. Yeah. And I have friends who are like, oh, but the brisket, it's good, but I can't eat meat it's that fatty. Their turkey, holy cow, their turkey is so good.
It's turkey.
Holy turkey, holy turkey. It's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, just saying.
Okay, so another restaurant in the village that is actually no longer in the village because they have moved, but it's still one of our favorites.
It is still one of our favorites, and I'm still kind of in mourning as someone who lives in central Brevard. But yes, Crush 11 has moved from Koko Village to downtown Melbourne. I know that downtown Melbourne, Jaren Eisenberg with Melbourne Main Street is so happy to have it there. She keeps posting pictures of, we just had dinner, we just had drinks. And I just want to say, Jaren, why'd you take my restaurant? But, you know, it's a good place for them. It's a great location, beautiful property. They're in the space that used to be the Flatiron Building. Oh, well, it is the Flatiron Building.
Right,
used to be a steak, Firehouse Steaks.
Firehouse Steaks.
So they've done a lot of work to kind of renovate it and restore it. So it's a beautiful place. Delicious food.
Nice.
But the Fat Snook is still there in Koko Beach, although they're supposed to be moving. They've run into some problems. They were going to move into the old mango tree property.
Right.
But that building, it turned out, needed more work than they originally had anticipated. So they're still working on getting that building to a place.
But they're still on A1A in their current location.
They are.
All right. South Koko Beach.
Yep.
Yeah.
What are some other places? There's so many great places.
Well,
that
you know,
have
we also had the California Fair. It's not fast food, it's not high-end service, but it's a really good breakfast, brunch, lunch place in Vieira that opened, First Watch.
First Watch, yes.
Really good review of First Watch. And, you know, for somebody who is trying to be health conscious, First Watch is a really, really good option.
What did I have? It was something with, maybe it was the California Benedict or something. I don't know. It was something with eggs and avocado, and it was really good.
I keep seeing friends posting photos of, now I understand what the hype is, with photos of like the avocado toast, which is literally toast with mashed up avocado on it. It looks like guacamole without the garlic and stuff.
It's yummy.
It is yummy.
You know another great breakfast place? Merritt Island Pancake House.
I've never been there.
Oh my gosh, you are so missing out. It is really, really good. What did I have? I had, well, sometimes they'll have cinnamon roll pancakes, cinnamon pancakes, and the French toast. I mean, it's just really good.
Where is that?
It's on Merritt Island. It's on Courtney, kind of North Courtney if you're driving, you know,
North or south of Merritt Island High School?
I don't know. It's right around there.
Okay.
It's in that vicinity.
Okay.
But yeah.
So there's
really
another
good.
place that I like to go to on Merritt Island too that I just found.
Let's hear it.
This place, okay, it's like I'm not going to say the name right because it's Thai. It's like Mam Thai Sushi House. Okay, this place is for $17, all you can eat.
This is a new one on me. I don't know this one.
And Thai food, and it comes out like tapas style. So there's small portions that come out. So you order. Let's say you sit down and they give you a little sheet so you can put your like seat number down and what you're drinking, and then you have 6 spots that you can fill out with different item numbers for like sushi rolls or pad thai or curry
like the
dishes.
Sushi Factory.
Kinda, yeah.
Okay.
And so you go in and you put down your sushi numbers, and they bring you 4 pieces of whatever roll you want out on a big block, and it's all you can eat for like $17. It's so good too.
I love those places.
Me too. Where I can go in and all you can eat and try different stuff. That's awesome. It's one of my new favorite places.
Well, can I tell you about another place that it's an opening and a closing? So
yes.
Well, actually 2 closings and 1 opening, but It'll make sense.
Okay.
Stick with me. So Jimmy's at Turtle Creek was a long-time breakfast favorite in Rockledge, forever. Breakfast favorite. The original Jimmy had sold it to someone else, and then that person gave it back to the original Jimmy, who then sold it to the people who owned JD's Sports Pub.
Which was on US 1
Yes.
and is now closed.
Yes. So the owners of JD's closed JD's, took the former Jimmy's, and they've turned it into a sports bar. It's called the Twisted Birch.
Right.
Great burgers.
Yes.
They have really good burgers.
They have great breakfast too.
But they're still serving the Jimmy's breakfast.
Yes.
Jimmy came in and trained their staff on breakfast, so they still
It's
have.
a really good breakfast.
It is a really good breakfast. Naoki Japanese cuisine. It's in Palm Bay. It's on US 1. It's right across from the river, kind of south of 192. Authentic ramen, Japanese ramen.
Nice.
Really good. I love the guy. I love Naoki, who's the owner. He's this young guy, amazing chef, but he also he has his hours are like, I'm not here at this time because I'm surfing, and he loves living here. He grew up in Japan, but he loves living here because he loves surfing, and you can see he loves Harleys. And he loves surfing. He had to sell his Harley to buy the restaurant, so he's hoping to make enough money to buy
a new Harley. That would be awesome for him.
And Salty Fox. Have you been to the Salty Fox?
I haven't been to the Salty Fox either.
They have stuff like SpaghettiOs, and I love the Salty Fox.
But like made from scratch SpaghettiOs, right?
Well, I didn't.
They're not serving me
I
Chef
didn't
Boyardee
order.
out of a can.
I didn't order the SpaghettiOs, I have to admit, but I did order. They have like these celery things that have. They have really interesting, different kind of food, and it's kind of like it's a bar. So you walk in and it's not fancy, but it's just really good and kind of fun.
So maybe it is Chef Boyardee out of a can?
I don't think it is.
Okay, I would hope not.
I don't think it is. But they also have one of the new murals on the
nice.
side of the building from the anti-gravity project.
Nice.
So that's
they're
really cool.
in O'Galley.
In O'Galley.
Right. We should go and get food now.
We should. Thank you for letting me come on and talk
Thanks
with
for
you
coming in.
about my favorite topic.
I know. Thank you. All right. Well, my thanks to Suzy Fleming Leonard for sitting down and talking to me about all of those great restaurants. Isadora, let's talk a second about something scary that's going on in the news, speaking of eating, something scary that's going on in the news. Let's talk about this Tide Pod challenge. All right. I'm okay with teenage angst and daring and all of that fun stuff, but really, eating Tide Pods?
I know, it's ridiculous. I actually saw videos of people putting it on a frying pan. It's just ridiculous. I honestly think it's ridiculous, and it makes me scared for our youth. I know I sound old. I'm not as old as I sound right now, but
or as old as me.
Yeah, back in my day when I was a teenager, we didn't do that. But yes, it's like not only the health concerns, but it just shows, are they bored or are they just? I don't get it.
Well, back in my day, we would take old fences and build ramps and ride our bikes up the ramps and fall off our bikes and cut our heads open and stuff like that, which you can still see on the Fail Army channel now on cable. But that's what we would have to do. I don't know that taking old fence and building ramps ever caused anybody else to not be able to do their laundry, because now Tide Pods are being locked up.
Yeah, and Tide came out with a commercial saying, "Do not eat Tide Pods; those are for laundry, not for eating."
How? This is America now. We now have to be okay. Yes, we know it's laundry soap, but don't be stupid. Don't eat it. Okay.
And the memes were hilarious.
The memes were really good.
I think I saw was back in my day, this is how we did it, and it showed powder, laundry detergent.
Right, you had to choke down the Tide powder, the little granules. Yeah. All right, so let's talk a little bit about a little bit more serious subject. So Brightline, which formerly known as All Aboard Florida, the high-speed rail line that's going to be coming through Brevard County. Although no stops planned here, but going to be whipping through Brevard County, going to Orlando and South Florida. 3 accidents in the past year.
Yeah, well, I think Brightline started operating just recently, and since the beginning of this year, there have been 3 people struck by the high-speed trains. And actually, Florida Today posted a video of a guy on a bike that was struck by a train, and unfortunately he died. So, I'm going to go back to when I was living on the Treasure Coast, and there's huge opposition. People are really mad because this train is going through these very small communities at over 100 miles per hour. So, there's concern about safety issues, noise, and also the fact that you have 32 trains going through daily, and you're disrupting traffic. So this is just more ammunition for those who oppose the train. I think the early reports indicate that the people who were struck were actually trying to beat the trains. My guess is, they're used to doing that with the regular cargo trains, which go at like 30, 40 miles per hour. So when you see a train coming, it's really hard to say where the train is and how fast it's traveling. So it seems that, and Autoboard Florida has come out saying that all the safety precautions were in place, and but still, people are going to use this against the train and trying to, put things in a way of making it happen.
Well, I will tell you that there are some crossings in Melbourne that I look at them and it makes me nervous to think about a 100-mile-an-hour train going down them on some of those smaller roads like Fee Avenue. And in that area of downtown Melbourne where this train is going to be whipping through. I will also tell you that I have seen people try and beat the train. First of all, it's stupid. Speaking of Tide Pod Challenge stupid, this is stupid as well. It is a hefty fine to go around those cross guards when they are down, and it's just dumb. And so if you're doing that now,
stop doing it.
God help you when a 100-mile-an-hour train is barreling down those tracks.
Yeah, and I think I don't see the same opposition here in Brevard, and I think Brevard was trying to get a station here, and if we do get one, I mean, it's just great. I would love all aboard.
I think we were hoping for a Koko station.
Yeah, which would come after they built the entire thing, I believe.
Right. All right, so that's Brightline. Let's talk a little bit about another story that's a little crazy going on Melbourne's beach side. We had an incident where someone had gone into the Aloha Pet and Bird Hospital and stole a cat. Then we heard the reports of a teenager having his snake stolen and the snake getting away. Various reports of someone with dreadlocks going down the beach and knocking over bait buckets and cutting the lines of fishermen and letting dogs off the leashes there at Canova Beach. And police say it is one guy by the name of Sandflea Jesus. Now, not only is Sandflea Jesus allegedly doing all of these things, but when they arrested him, he gave the name of someone else instead of, because Sandflea Jesus isn't a real name, but he gave somebody else's name who was a local surfer, and the local surfer's like, bruh, that wasn't me. That was not me.
Well, the lead in Tyler's story, one of our reporters, is very funny. A man wearing a tie-dye shirt and multicolored leggings is accused of stealing a snake in Indian Harbor Beach Tuesday evening. I mean, just that lead in itself, it explains like what we're dealing with.
Someone needs to tell Sandflea Jesus that leggings are not pants. Fashion faux pas, Sandflea Jesus.
It is a fashion faux. Maybe he's making a statement.
Maybe. I wonder if he wears Birkenstocks. Sandflea Jesus, they're known as Jerusalem Cruiser. Oh, he is.
I don't think you can afford Birkenstocks.
Probably not.
Maybe the knockoff versions. But
maybe.
You almost like the guy.
He's wearing leggings, so he's not very fashion forward, Isadora.
But you almost like the guy. It's because
okay, so his whole MO is that animals don't belong to anybody. Yeah. They belong of this earth. They are their own free spirit, and they shouldn't be imprisoned and held hostage by anyone as an owner pet relationship. Final subject for the day. I know that here in Brevard County, we have a lot of fans of the NBC show This Is Us.
And spoiler alert, by the way.
Yeah, there is going to be a spoiler alert coming up.
If you haven't watched the last episode of This Is Us,
right,
just go have a cup of coffee.
You have had people talk to you about this already, because All right, so the last episode that we saw of This Is Us, for 2 seasons, we have known that the father, Jack Pearson, played by Milo Vigilamentia. I know I didn't pronounce that right. Please, fans of his, don't write in and complain. But we know that his character dies in a fire. In the final episode, or the last episode we saw, we know that fire was caused by a 17-year-old crock pot. 17. And when they received the crock pot secondhand from an elderly neighbor, it already had a janky switch on it, right? Like it didn't turn off all the way. So we saw in that episode that, you know, the faulty switch caused the crock pot to overheat, ignite. And right after the episode aired, people went on Twitter and were like, everybody who just watched This Is Us just went into their kitchen to make sure their crock pots were unplugged. To the point that the executive producer of the show actually sent out a message saying, no, we love crock pot. Crock pots are great. Don't hate on crock pot. It's just a story.
Imagine Crockpot sues This Is Us for, you know, affecting their sales.
Right?
That would be kind of fun.
That would be funny.
But I don't have a Crockpot, but I don't think that Crockpots, can that actually happen is my question.
I don't know.
I mean, anything can happen to any appliance, but yeah.
I mean, there's a short in the switch, so that short could have done something, you know. But I just think it's interesting that now Crockpot has now become a storytelling device in one of the more popular shows on NBC.
I mean, I've been watching This Is Us from the beginning, and it was just getting on my nerves. Just tell us how Jack died, because we know how he died. First season was a cliffhanger. You know, we thought that we were going to know in the last episode how he died, and then we didn't.
Well, they were building up they made you feel like he was going to die in a car accident from drinking and driving.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
and he didn't, and I'm glad they kind of, you know, stopped the whole drinking and driving thing before that happened. But they really let you know that, you know.
Yeah. Well, now after he dies, I assume there will be a third season, given how popular the show is. And then what is the show going to be about? And I'm very excited because I think it's going to dig more into their lives after Jack died.
Right.
And then how Rebecca and Miguel eventually hook up over Facebook.
Right.
So I'm excited about that.
I'm excited you're excited. Okay, Isadora, so enough about This Is Us, although you can see the newest episode coming in after the Super Bowl this Sunday. So this was fun. We need to do this more often. You know, we introduce the show every week together, but we need to do this more often. This was fun.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think we're more fun than the other guests. I'm just kidding.
No, no, really. Seriously, Desmond Blackburn was awesome.
He was awesome. They're all awesome.
They are all awesome. Okay, that's going to do it for this week on Florida Today's Brevard. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next Wednesday.